Let's give this a shot. We're just going to go to tape and then upload because my upload speeds are absolutely awful this morning, despite updating my internet quite a bit. We'll have to check in with the internet service provider about that, see if they have any answers. Who knows? But welcome in, Bishop on Air. You can catch the program if we're live each and every weekday morning, or we also record out these clips so that you can check them out here with Bishop on Air. Okay, let's get right on into it. Of course, you've got the ongoing border situation, which is impacting Illinois, even though the state of Illinois is 1,000+ miles from the southern U.S. border. You've got 35,000 migrants that have come to Illinois, mainly Chicago, in the past year and a half. And even Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker going back and forth as to what the solutions are. Johnson wants more shelters outside of Chicago, while Pritzker says that migrants should be going to Chicago because that's where all the resources are. But you have others making points and even making political hay out of this, especially heading into a primary where Republicans in a congressional district squaring off about the issue of migration. And former state senator Darren Bailey, we chatted with him yesterday when he was down on the southern border, and he was on the camera yesterday afternoon talking about the problems that he sees arising and the lack of political will to make some serious changes from those he says are in the establishment.
This isn't just a number, it's a crisis. This crisis is surpassing the population of entire states like Missouri. It's a direct result of leaders who choose politics over protection. People who drain our communities to cover up their incompetence. Failed radicals like Joe Biden and his so-called Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas empower the cartels, turning human misery into a lucrative business, all while deadly fentanyl floods our streets, including our homes and neighborhoods. This isn't rocket science. It's a crisis of willpower, and right now is the time for action. Securing our border is straightforward. We finish the Trump border wall. We enforce our laws. We dismantle the incentives for illegal entry, and we designate the cartels what they truly are. They are terrorist organizations. Yet we have career politicians like my opponent, Mike Bost, who preach border security on the campaign trail, but betray us the very moment that it counts.
So again, Bailey making politics out of this as he's in a Republican primary against Mike Bost. Now, Mike Bost did provide a statement to the Center Square where he said that he's been to Eagle Pass twice in the past 10 months, ultimately saying that he's got the border issue top of mind, meeting with Border Patrol and reviewing security measures at one of the most targeted points of entry. He says he voted for the wall, ending catch and release, and to hire more border agents. He went on to say that he introduced legislation to stop the Biden administration from facilitating health care for illegal migrants with money intended for American veterans. Unlike my opponent, Bost said, who hastily planned a meaningless publicity stunt at the border because we're 1 month away from election, I've always viewed border security as a top priority. So again, that's Mike Bost in a statement he made in response to Bailey being at the border. But Bailey's not the only Republican facing a Republican in the March 19th primary. You've got Blaine Wilhauer, who has a Republican opponent, and he was also at the southern U.S. border. He's a state representative from Beecher City.
As a sanctuary state, a so-called sanctuary state that is rolling out the welcome mat for this kind of activity, it's made every town in our state literally a border town, every city a border town. And what's happening here at the border has directly affected what is happening in the city of Chicago. We were up in Chicago a few weeks ago, and folks, I mean, they can't handle this in the city of Chicago. And you got the mayor of Chicago, who is an avowed leftist, saying that, hey, this isn't working. It's not working. They don't have the resources to deal with it. They don't have the manpower to deal with it. So what we're seeing is, just last week, Mayor Johnson told the governor of the state of Illinois that we need to start building these shelters outside of the city of Chicago. So what is happening there with this crazy, unsustainable policy is hitting us all over the state of Illinois. It has been for some time. The taxpayers in the state of Illinois are paying upwards of $4 billion per year to prop up this unsustainable fantasy policy, and that's coming at the expense of the taxpayers of our state. You know, we have people struggling. Our property taxes, inflation, Joe Biden's inflation, and J.B. Pritzker's inflation. We can't afford groceries, medical care for our seniors. We're giving it free to illegals, but we have seniors that can't afford prescriptions, guys.
So again, Will Hauer making his points, and his opponent, Matt Hall, is also running as a Republican in that Illinois State House district. So interesting to see the politics made of all of this. But you've got others raising substantial questions, and as far as what's the real focus in Chicago, for instance? If you recall this video from what was
asking
this?
Me as if I'm not a parent.
That's pretty loud. Just a few weeks ago, when it was rumored that Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, would be going to the southern U.S. border. I don't think he did. He may have sent a delegation down there, but this was weeks ago, maybe a few months ago even. But Johnson was asked at a news conference if he was going to go to the southern U.S. border and when he would go to the southern U.S. border.
I have children who attend schools who have soccer games, y'all. You know, you all are asking me as if I'm not a parent in this city. I get it. I'm mayor. I get it. But you're asking me to give you a date, and I have to court. Do you understand that you have not had a mayor like me? I get that. I have a wife. I have children. They have schedules. And plus, we still have public safety that we have to address. We still have the unhoused that we have to address. I still have a budget that I have to address. And I'm doing all of that with a black wife raising 3 black children on the west side of the city of Chicago. I am going to the border as soon as possible.
Well, I don't know if he actually has. I'll have to, somebody can fact check me on that, but he may have sent a delegation down there. I don't know if he actually went down there. While it was also some photos are shown of the mayor of Chicago over in L.A. recently. Well, we had the Grammys. Apparently he showed up to that, I think, is being reported, while he was there in L.A. for a conference of mayors. It'd be interesting to see the receipts of all of that, and I'm sure the Chicago media is going to delve deeper into that. But you've got Mayor Johnson with the ongoing crisis in Chicago impacting residents there. But it's not, again, obviously the issue of non-citizen migrants arriving en masse, 35,000 of them. That clearly is problematic, especially when you've got CNN with these, or not CNN, but 60 Minutes with these types of reports about migrants coming across, and in particular, migrants who are of Chinese descent. So it's pretty remarkable to see that. And again, that's just one little tidbit of a report that 60 Minutes released about the migrants coming across. 50 times more Chinese citizens apprehended crossing illegally than 2 years ago. So you've got the migrant situation that obviously is raising concerns. But the crime situation also in Chicago, something else that's continuing to raise concerns. Some of the videos that are being shared on social media, I mean, just, somebody walking down the street, and you've got 3 assailants that end up chasing them down the street, and subsequent videos showing the aftermath, allegedly, with one individual bloodied afterwards, talking about the incident. So that's clearly not something that we like to see at all. But also this video in Chicago of a woman walking down the street by herself getting mugged. Wasn't just that one incident. She's seen trying to wave down several people on the street after her assailants leave, only to find herself again later on. The assailants come back and proceed to assault her again. These clearly are videos that are making the rounds on social media, where you have other issues that Chicago continues to grapple with. So clearly a lot going on when it comes to public safety, the migrant issue, the focus of it versus what's happening on the streets, and how all of this is being made into politics, especially with the bill that's advancing in the U.S. Congress that could possibly bring about, amnesty, work permits, 5,000 people crossing the border, undocumented a day allowance, while also giving billions of dollars in foreign wars with Ukraine and Russia and the Middle East. All of this lumped together. Clearly, Congress looking to make politics out of this, but some of the motives behind why we're seeing the border as open as we are being questioned. Is it about the humanitarian aspects? Is it about electoral politics? Is it about the distribution of seats in Congress when it comes to population? So we'll obviously delve a lot more into all of this as it continues to unfold, and we watch how it impacts the state of Illinois in particular. All right, it is Bishop on Air. Appreciate you guys being here each and every day. Be sure to check it out, Bishop on Air. Anywhere, just search Bishop on Air, and you can join me that way, all right? Got more coming up here with Bishop on Air.